So today's video is about what are the components of an IIM interview, or for that matter any B school interview. First of all, when you are going for an interview, just think of a few points. One, why you want to take that, or why you want to qualify for that interview. Two, why should that company or that college take you? These two questions may sound cliched, but answers to these questions, if they align to your story and they just sound genuine, I think these are the key towards clearing or converting an interview. Because your profile must look genuine, and it should show the purpose that you should be, why you want to join that college or that company, and then what you can contribute to them. So because they also want something from you in return. So these two, I think, are the more important questions. And apart from that, the coming to the components, exact components, generally in an IIM interview there are three components. One is current affairs, business news, and terms like that. For example, terms of business, and I am saying this business terms for not only for commerce graduates, but also for tech graduates and other graduates, because MBA or B schools, they relate to businesses and those things for future. So they would be testing you slightly on these terms, not very detailed for people from other branches than the commerce and that field, but yeah, you should have a basic idea. And so in that, basically you have to cover the current affairs that's going around at that moment. Apart from that, business news and terms, for example, like insider trading, what exactly it is, or maybe other share market terminologies, basically call, put options, these kind of options, basic knowledge of each of these, so that you can answer something. They won't grill you a lot on these, but you should have a basic idea. One is that, and the second part is core subjects and work experience. So it's basically a kind of a linear trend in terms of what is asked. If you are a fresher, you will be asked 100% core subjects, and if you are a work ex guy, then maybe core subjects will start to get reduced in your interviews, and more of that work ex part, what did you do in your company, those things will come up. As much as you have the work experience, that much the core part will be reducing. So basically, if you have 5-7 years of work experience, you will not be asked much about core. But if you have just 1 year experience, you might be asked about core as well, because they expect you to know that. And why I say that core is important, and why they test it, because what they think is that they don't want people who just screwed up their bachelor's, or maybe BTech, or maybe BA or anything, and then for the employment opportunity they want to come for an MBA. They don't want that kind of people. So they want people who have a strong core and their fundamentals in their bachelor's as well. And that's quite relatable, because if you haven't performed well in your bachelor's, they might feel, and it's a high probability that you will again default on your studies in your MBA as well, because it's a tough study, and once you have that habit of not studying well, you might pass it on to your B school. So that's what they don't want. So that's why they test you on core subjects. And core subjects, it will not be very technical or very aggressive. It will just be around, do you know the fundamentals? So you must be clear on your fundamentals, and like knowing the basic formula, or maybe the basic approaches in your field, whichever field you are from, maybe technology, or maybe management, or any other field. You just need to be sure of basic terminology in each field. Some of the research applications in that are coming in future, maybe futuristic research applications, like for example, I was from chemical engineering, and one of our areas is generally about sustainable energy, how to use solar power, how to move away from refining and those things. So these kind of futuristic applications based on your field, that shows that you are a generally aware person, and you tend to read up more about new upcoming things, and that's a good sign. So that's also important. And apart from core subject, if you have work experience, you will be asked about your company, basics of that company, financials of that company, what you did there. You might also be asked for your internships, even if you are a fresher guy, what exactly you did there, how, what you learned there. So these are the kind of core questions that you get to ask, you are asked. Okay. And the last part is generally the HR questions. So these are the whys, or the why questions. So basically, why MBA, why should they take you, why should they not take you, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, strengths and failures, maybe successes, failures. So what kind of person you are, they judge you from that. And generally what happens is that people generally tend to make up answers for these, and they have a well prepared answers for these, but that is not what works. Because if you prepare your answers on this, and you seem like you have learned something and learned something, that it's not the purpose, because they don't want people who have learned their answers. It should come out from your life with some examples showing that you might have committed some mistakes, but you are willing to improve on them in future. That's the basic thing that they are finding. They are not going for perfect people who have had everything very well, no mistakes, no failures. So just don't try to bluff them with answers like I don't have any weaknesses. So we have covered all three types of questions by now. One is your core subject, one is the technical HR questions, and the last part is your current affairs, business news, and these things. There is no order in which these get asked, and what you are asked, it's completely dependent on the professors there sitting there. You can be asked anything basically, but it's quite you can bucket them into these three categories, and mostly if you cover these all, you would be good to go. There might be some questions which you don't know the answer to, and at that moment I would request that don't bluff any answers, because they are very knowledgeable people, and you can't just go away by bluffing, and that gives a very wrong impression that you are keeping up your stand even if it's wrong and you know that. So just honestly say that you don't know about it, and they'll throw you the next question. That's not an issue. They don't take it to their hearts that why you are not knowing one thing. So it's not about knowing each and everything, but it's about knowing it well, whatever thing you know. So, and presenting it well and being honest. So these are the components of an interview, and stay tuned for the next video.